welcome everybody. I will be your host, Jared. I am one of the trainers on the training team. If you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat or come off mute and we'll be able to assist you. Any questions? I like long walks and fresh flowers. Go ahead, Murray.
Right. I admit readily that I have not looked into this myself, so it might be super simple. So we are looking for a way to put in, say, like a login message. What I'm thinking of is if you're going to be making a change or taking down the system or something like that, it's a way to notify users when they log in with just a quick message that they have to kind of at least pretend to read, so that things don't get lost in the flurry of emails. And if there's a way to do that by groups, so if it only affects certain people, that would be even better.
Ah, gotcha. I think this might be a simple. I mean, there's a couple ways you could do it. So
okay,
let me go to my local host. So we do have a couple of steps here that allow us. I'm just going to go into this example flow. I don't know what's in it. Okay, perfect. And you can do system notifications. So we can do like a show pop-up. And I think we have a better one where I think it's called like send notification to groups. And there's one that allows you to specify. Nope, not that one. Let me move it over here. Communication. That's the same one that I processed. Nope, not that one. There we go. Send notification accounts and groups. I knew it was something. And what this allows you to do is you can pick up any type of notification, whether it be a pop-up, a simple message, and then you can add the notify group either statically, or you can pass that information in dynamically, and then it will notify the users with a pop-up. So for example, if I configure this, here, if I notify group admin, message, be hello, and if I do sure, and then I debug, it will just merely send a notification like the show pop-up step, except this allows you for more dynamic capability where you could say, hey, I want to, send this to a group or user or whatever.
Okay. Is there a way to force? I know there's probably something on the user settings, but how would I force that to come up when they log in?
Oh, upon login?
Mm-hmm.
Upon login. Let's see, what could we do upon login? There is, I know there's login flows. Let me see if I can find those. And basically those are flows that you can utilize to say, hey, it would allow more complexity. So, or you would have to design something further. So let me see if I can create one of these other flow behaviors. Login flows, advanced. Login. Runs after user signs to the portal. So you can use a special type of flow called a login user flow. And in that case, probably what I would do in your situation is maybe I would have like, I don't know, a list or a system constants of notifications that need to be sent that day. And then what it could do is like, so you have like a date, like a simple, I don't know, data type or constant that says the message update or, refresh, and then a flag that says if it's true, it needs to be sent. And then you would just fetch that data structure by that property and then have it hit that pop-up step here. So if I do show pop-up.
So this is
so
not the send notification that you showed me before, but the pop-up.
You could do either or. So it could be send notifications. Both will work.
So I could do a show pop-up to say the system will be down Saturday noon to 9 p.m. And then do the system notification to tell the people whose actual job is going to change. So those people will get 2, but anyone else would only get 1, telling them that the system's going to be down. If the change doesn't affect them, they don't care.
Sure, you have to configure. Okay. Yeah, so you can do that. You just have to configure that logic there. But yes, you can do that.
All right. I will dig into this some more. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Oh, right. Rita asked, there used to be an extend lock step in version 6, which is not available in version 8. How can we recreate this in 8 integration tutorial services object lock service? All right, let's take a look at that. I'm going to log out of this. Flow, let me go to example flow. Let me go to integration. Object lock service. And the step was called to extend the lock step. Extend lock step for specified user. Guest user constant. Lock platform, lock object. So you're not looking for this extend lock object for a specified user, or no? If you can you come off mute, Rita, and like explain to me the context so I understand it better?
Yeah, so it used to be just extend lock, and it would just take an object ID.
Mm-hmm. So it's not just for a specified user. You want to just lock the object for everybody?
Yeah, so the step had it took an object ID, and then the context type was current user.
Lock for time. Say what the inputs were. It was lock.
It just took object ID and the lock for time.
For time. Okay, I wonder if it's renamed. What if is the lock object what you're looking for? Because this one has lock for time as the time span, and then it just has the object ID.
So there's lock object, but then there's extend lock. So I don't know if just putting that step again, would that just extend the lock?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I haven't had too much experience with these steps before. I'm wondering if it could, but I would have to talk with the core dev team and find out. So I'm gonna write that one down and find out for you. Could you paste your email in the chat just so I can
Yeah.
follow up with you on it?
Yep.
Could you give the context on why? Also, like, why do you need to extend the lock for an object? Is this for a specific project? Like, what's the use case? So
Yeah. Like if a user goes back in, it's just double checking like how long they were on the form. So maybe that lock might have timed out. So they're just doing it again.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. Okay, back to form. Okay, cool. And I will follow back up.
Right. Thank you.
My pleasure. All right. Any other questions? No, anonymous. There a way to default all components on the form to output data as optional when we add a button or outcome? It looks like it is defaulted to not use. Really? Let's test that out. Is there a way to default all components on the form to output data as optional when we add new button / outcome? It looks like default is not used. So I think I know what you're talking about. So I'm assuming it's, I create this form, right? And then let's say I add a form control. It's either required, but if I add another one, and then if I go to here, then it's not used. That's the default thing I think you're talking about. You want to know if we could set that to just optional, or that button 2 would be optional and not required. Let's see. Let's see if there's any settings on that. Button. I believe that would be a feature request because let's see if I add another control, goes to not used. What happens if I had 3 buttons? He only picks one and the other has to be not used. Yep, not used, not used, not used. But if I do this, and I delete all the buttons, but then I add 1 button. And then I click on here, this should be required. Yeah, because that's expected, but the second one is. Okay, so I believe that would be just a feature request. To basically have that, or like, yeah, basically, because I think I know what you're saying, because if you have a process that utilizes this form dynamically and needs to be part of different routes, especially if you have a large form, it's very cumbersome to be like, oh, hey, I need to set all these 3 components to, you know, whatever. Now I do know there is, so let's say I have several controls. Let me put some data here. So just say data, and we'll just say this is text data. Now I know you can hold control and left click multiple controls here, and you'll be able to, oh, you don't have it. Okay. I thought that when you hold the control on your keyboard and left click multiple form controls, I thought you'd be able to set up that outcome option, but I think that's also a feature request. So currently there's no way to change that. The default is not used. That would be a feature request for that. Not use feature request to allow multiple feature request to allow multiple users, or no, multiple controls to have their outcome path change, or have the option to have the default path change. Let's see, what else could there be? There's something in the text data name, override color, that's just the behavior, needs confirmation. Text data, nope, and triggers. Triggers go to control, run active flow, and data flow. Okay, nope, nothing there. I was wondering if maybe there's something in the button settings that would change the default, but it looks like it is just, if you add any more buttons other than the required one, then it will say not used for it. Any other questions? Log back to phone. Any other ones? Comments, questions? So I want to ask some of these questions to the devs. So where do we know where the extend lock step is? Was available in 7 or in 6. I can't find it. 8. On a use case, log back in. 4. I believe you can use the get lock info step and then use that extend user. Let's try that. Get lock info, and I'm assuming that ID has to be. Let's test this out. I'm gonna grab this form. Manage, get form ID. Constant, oops. And let's see if we get the lock details out of that. Okay, so we got lock info. Output, no, yeah, because there's none. That makes sense. But what if open up another browser and let's say I have that form being displayed. I'm gonna show form here. Pick existing. Form 1. And let me debug this right here. Actually, no, let me not debug this. This is add task testing flow. Okay. I'm going to run this and then I'm going to debug it and see if there's any lock. Nope, no lock info. So I'm not sure what ID it's looking for. Unless it's like lock info ID. Because that just outputs as it's null. Did you change the GUID format? Yes, the GUID format has been updated. So before, GUIDs used to look like, so in version, I think I'm trying to figure out, I think I created this. Nope, of course that'd be that way. So designer folders used to be a GUID, but to make them more accessible to Linux environments, the GUIDs have been changed to utilize this new format. I forgot what the format was called. This is the new format that, and not the grid, but a lockstep in the flow. All right, let's try that. We'll do 5 seconds. So I think I have this still running. So I'm gonna say debug. This is done. So now I guess to test it, I'd have to log in as a different user, different browser. And get lock info after you lock it in the flow. So like I run this. Hold on, let me lock it for 10 seconds. I think I might know what you're saying. Nope, still runs it. Unless I have to actually run the form. Nope, unless I have to edit it. Nope. It says it went down the path, done 10 seconds. Object lock time. Yeah, I'd have to play around with that offline to determine more what it does. All right, so I got one of our devs taking a look at why only one of them shows up in version 8. All right. It doesn't lock your form itself when you run a flow with a form on it. It just instantiates a new instance of the form. Oh, okay. So it's just so I guess if you have multiple users accessing it. Huh. That's interesting. I'm still not firmly grasping it because it seems like I believe decisions already creates a new session of that form. So if I ran the flow and let's say one of my colleagues ran the flow, it wouldn't run the same form. We'd get two different instantiations of that form. Interesting. All right. Any other comments or questions? Jeremy or Shan? Murray or Vitaly? Let me make sure I have. Okay, good. So I have my own account here. Okay, cool. I want to continue to try. Gotcha. Okay. So one of the devs just told me that this was removed intentionally. Oh, wait, never mind. All right, so go to here. I want to lock the object, so I'm gonna switch to here. We're gonna say this is 15 seconds. And then the object that I'm going to use is going to be form 1, so edit, manage, get the form ID, copy text. I'll put this in here, perfect. So now when I debug and lock this, if I try to do this, got it. Okay, that makes sense. So it's just making that lock for someone else. So I guess they can't edit it, is what I'm assuming. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Let me look. I got the ticket number of, so it was removed. So is it here? So yeah, it looks like this was removed in version 7 because it would just show a lock for any designer entity, which would be very unfortunate because then no one could get access to it. Or no, I'm sorry, the dialogue. So that this window right here that displays this dialogue would not display if someone used the extend lock step. attached. Typo. Yeah, so I'm not getting clear information on why it was removed. It seems like there was a bug with it, and it was removed in version 7, yeah, just 7.0, and just has been gone since 7.0. So learn something new every day. All right. So that makes sense on, or at least that's an explanation on what happened to that step. Any other comments or questions? That's fine. Go ahead and ask it. I mean, I may not know the answer because I'm not an HTML expert, but I know a little bit due to decision. So feel free to ask it and I'll see if I can help.
Hello?
Hey, how's it going?
Hi. So I'm having an issue regarding well really I have actually two issues, but one of them actually is not an HTML issue, which actually might be a lot easier to solve than the one that is perhaps an HTML issue. I'm working with I guess entity states, and my problem with it is that I'm trying to create two user actions, one being a complete action, and then the other one being a delete action for effectively certain whenever like a user finishes a request. They can either choose to delete the request or they can choose to complete the request. And I'm trying to create user actions for that, but both of which don't seem to be working, and I'm kind of at my wit's end.
Got so the deleting action for it, or
Really both. I mean, the flows for them are pretty simple, but they are yeah, the flows for them are pretty simple, but they how would I put it, are they're still not working. There's only like how many steps in each of these flows? It's like 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there's like 4 steps or 4 items I could say in each of these flows, and they're still not working, and I'm not too sure as to why that is the case.
do you know what data structure you're using?
I believe it's just an entity. I'm a little I'm not too certain. Would you mind if I shared my screen and then maybe you'll be able to see?
I don't. Sure. Do I have that capability, Roman? Are we allowed to? Are we able to? Or not allowed, but are we able to? I just don't know how to. I don't have permissions to allow that.
But just to be
Sweet.
clear that you know this is released to the public, and so just sure that you control your information.
Let's see. I'm trying to find a way on how I can, I guess, hide some of the information then, because I can't really hide the URL.
Yeah, I mean, preferably, are you able to just talk through it?
Yeah, I might be able to. Okay, so I have a completion form, right? So I can kind of describe it. I have a completion form. The completion form goes to a set entity state where where it has like the entity ID and then basically like the new state. For entity ID, it just had to be the entity.id as far as and I selected that from a flow that I have, and then for this new state I put it as just test, just for I guess, convenience sake. And then that goes to
Sure. Keep going.
That goes to then a save entities step, in which the type name under the entity save definition is in relation to the actual, I guess, what would this be like? I guess project, the flow, I should say.
Yeah,
So
or the, so here's how I'm understanding it. So if you're dealing with an individual record, so for example, this is the decisions and I like set application example. We have everyone go through this sprint,
Mhm.
and these have their own states to it. So if I go to, if I can, I'm going to edit this report just to show the state so we can see that. That's not what I'm looking for. I don't want to edit that report. Let's see, unimport data over here. Yeah, reports over that. Essentially, actually, let me just create my own quick report. Reports. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So if I go to HR documents, this is what I'm looking for. Oh, okay, because I got the application state. So I have these states called signed, 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 and unsigned.
Mhm.
And these will change when I pass in the, that's why it depends on what data structure you're using. If you're using the folder extension or case entities, then what you will need to do, yes, just open it. Then what you will need to do is that on the set entity state step that you have, you pass in the folder ID and then the new state signed. And then when you report over that data source, you'll be able to see it. Now, if you are using a flow execution extension, it is a little different. Flow execution extensions, since they kind of grab the flow data while it's kind of in flight, is what we like to call it, or while it's running.
Mhm.
So when we go into like the logic for this one that uses that data structure, you will see that I've used, I think I've used it. Hopefully I have a set state step in here. There is a set state step. This one
Right.
only takes in the state, you know, string and text input, and that's what will change that state to be, okay, this is, you know, approved or denied or, you know, what have you. So those are the two things. So it depends on how that's set up there. Now, I think another thing you're talking is you wanted the configurations like to show only for certain groups, right? It's like the delete one is only for certain groups and the other one's only for certain groups, right?
They should have, I guess, the it's basically like if you were to go to how do I put it? If you would it be here, or would it be, yeah, if you were to look at basically all the data, you can I guess right click on each one, and it would give you the option to either complete the request or delete the request. Is like kind of I'm on, yeah. So I think
No, yeah.
I think we're talking about the same thing.
Yeah, so essentially you can do it one of two ways. So you can do it here by creating what we call a action visibility rule. And what that will do is it will hide that action globally for that entire data type. So wherever that data type is instantiated or a record's been created for it, it will filter out that action. You can also do it on the report level. So let's say there's certain actions I don't want the employee to have. So what I can do here is I can go into the, let's see, or not, is it here? It's not here. It's in the, I know where it's at. It's in the pages. So in the employee I-9 report, I can go into the report viewer of those documents. And what I can do is I can say, hey, okay, we can go to behavior, and then I could say filter actions by names. And then I can only type the names I want to show. So signed document. And so what this means is that this is the only action that would be shown for that dashboard. So those are the two primary ways we manipulate those things. One's in the configuration folder that does it for all of the data types that are of that type. And then there's one on the report viewer that only does it locally for that report, for that user viewing that dashboard. So it all depends on what kind of flavor that you want. One's global, one's specific. That's the main difference for it.
Okay. Okay, I see. Okay. Okay. I guess I thought I tried everything, but it appears that there's a lot more I haven't actually thought of yet. So
Yeah,
can work
it happens.
yeah, I can work with that then.
Sure.
And then really quick, going to an HTML issue. Just briefly.
Yeah.
So there's another I guess workflow, and what it is actually a part of another, I think, end user action where you can actually look at the actual history
Okay.
of I think
The flows and stuff.
yeah. And what happens is that I wanted to put in an HTML, basically like a line of HTML that would allow it so it displays it in a way of a table. But it's not, it's basically just, it's not displaying it as intended, it's displaying it as basically like the raw HTML. So there is something wrong with my HTML. Could I, let's see, am I able to send one to, I guess, you in particular?
Yeah. You can send it to me through chat, or you can email me, but just email jared@decisions.com.
If I send it to you through here, would it be through hosts and panelists?
Yes, that'd be the way to do it if you want to send it that way.
So that's basically what I've had. That's like a an example version.
Okay.
So I have it as like table class, have the row begin with a header, and then I end the header, then I have another header, then I end that header.
Sure. So where are you trying to display this? That's my question. Is this like on an email, or is this like on a form, or where are we displaying this?
We are displaying this here, let me in a no, not a form.
Dashboard.
Yes, yeah. So I can look
okay.
I can look at the data. This, I guess, will be through acknowledgement history, I believe.
Gotcha.
And then anytime I'd want to look at it, then it should pull up as a matter of a table, but it's pulling up as raw HTML, and I'm not too sure as to what is wrong with either the HTML or if it's possibly not an HTML issue, but something else, in which that case I would have to know. But I just wanted to know if the HTML is correct or not.
Let's test it out. Is there like HTML formatter online? HTML formatter? Because then we can determine if it's the quality free online, HTML formatter. Beautify. Let's try that one. All right. And I'm just going to change some of the data. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Copy this. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to say this is. Styler. Local server. Junkie. All right. No, local server. Nerd. Okay. Then here. So let's beautify this. Okay. So that looks sound. All right. So I'm going to take this. Now let's go back into decisions, and I'm going to, where is my, haha. I think there's this display HTML. I don't know if it's inline embedded, specify, static HTML. I don't know if this will read it as HTML, display, link, open. And we'll see what happens. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this just to my dashboard test so we can see what it looks like. And see if it runs it or reads it or what. Add a form. Add page plus dashboard, pick page. We're going to do the test page. Save. Test. Another test. All right, so now I got another test. Oh, did I just put the exact? Oh, I put the exact same thing. No worries. Quick fix. Folder change. Hidden. Let's see, let's delete this page data. Let's add it again. I thought test. Oh, where is it? I just had it. Okay, I'll break the lock on this. Display HTML. Let's make it big. We're gonna say this is specify. I'm gonna paste this right here. We're gonna say, we'll say inline. I'm gonna save this, and then I'm gonna close. And then what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go back to dashboard tests. Hey, there we go. So it looks like it worked. It read it. It's just
Oh.
the heading styles may be off.
Oh,
So you may have to do like some inline style like HTML where you just kind of say like, hey, add a border, like, and then like find out what that border would be because it's got the row. It's just they're not centered. So you don't have to mess with the HTML
okay.
for that a little bit. To run it, just so I can walk through that because I know that was pretty fast.
Mhm.
Is if you want to display things on the dashboard or even a form for that matter, there is a component in decisions in both forms and pages called display HTML. And so what you would have to do is you drag that component onto the canvas and then on the actual source, instead of it being from a URL, I mean, it could be from a URL or from a flow, and that gives you the ability to pick or create and design a flow to output that HTML if you want to craft it a certain way. Or if you have it statically defined, then you just set it from as a specify, paste it in there, and then make sure you check inline, and then it will display your HTML on your dashboard, like so.
Okay.
There's actually, there's a good YouTube video. It was, see if I can find it. Making decisions, active form flows. It was called, it's a little, let's see. Where is it? Nope, not that one. Data filtering, generic document. Okay, so this one kind of goes through a little bit. There's also a way to dynamically do that. So this is all generated by HTML to the left here. And essentially what happens is I've designed a data repeater that every time I add rows, it adds it into that document viewer there, kind of giving it a static table-like format. And I did it dynamically utilizing some string builder steps. So I'm going to send you this video. It's a good worthwhile watch.
Okay.
That gives you some suggestions on how to manipulate HTML in decisions. So there's that static way that I showed you, but you can also do it through a flow, and that's what this one primarily uses, and it's super helpful for like people who want to like have like custom HTML kind of styling for PDFs and whatnot.
Yeah, that looks basically kind of what I was going for. So perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I got the link here. Here I'll copy that and post that. Oh, whoopsies.
Awesome. Let's see. Anyone else have questions? Let's see. I think. Right, I don't see any more questions. Yeah, I've always enjoyed messing around with HTML. It's a fun kind of thing to do to get the kind of look that you want. So yeah, I think that video I created a long time ago. So a thing to be aware of, that video is in version 7, but the steps that are used in that video will still be available in version 8 if that's the version that you're running. Because there's not steps are not much different there. Awesome. Good. I'm glad. Yeah, no worries, man. That's why we have these lunch and learns, to clarify any confusion. And if I don't know the answer, I know there's a whole team that I can easily just send a message to that I can get you guys the answer. Any other comments, questions, criticisms, analogies, syllogisms? Yeah, my pleasure. All right, I'll give us about 2 more minutes. And if there's no questions in 2 minutes, then we'll just end the call. All right, I see no questions, so I'm going to go ahead and end it right there. Thank you so much for attending. Our next, let me actually go back to the slide deck as I close out. Our next lunch and learn will be tomorrow, led by Eric Welmerink. He's our product, our product, what I like to call the product hype man. He gets access to all the new features that come from the specific area. So go ahead and join tomorrow. It'll be a real treat. I'll see you guys tomorrow.